Hi everyone, virtual hug. Thank you so much for watching this video and for therefore supporting YDAN. This week's topic is from Madeline and it's to do with the portrayal of disability and disabled people in the media, for example, on TV and in movies. When I was researching a little bit about what to talk about today, what surprised me was that the underrepresentation or the stereotyping of people with disabilities in the media has actually been noticed, and a lot of information has been written about it and a lot of theories have been put forward. So these videos that we do can only go for an approximate time of 5 minutes, but I would urge anyone, if they're interested, to have a look on Google and just educate yourself on this problem. But there are some things I want to bring up. In 1996, the British Film Institute website categorised how people in wheelchairs or with disabilities are portrayed, and they found that you can either be portrayed like Colin in The Secret Garden, so pathetic and pitiable and innocent and naive, and then when, spoiler alert, he walks, it's seen as a miracle cure. You can be portrayed as the Doctor from the James Bond films, like as sinister and evil, or you can be portrayed as the disabled war veteran was in the movie Born on the 4th of July, as completely non-sexual and incapable of having a worthwhile relationship. In 1999, Shakespeare wrote that he found the portrayal of characters with disabilities crude, one-dimensional, and very simplistic, and reinforcing any negative stereotypes that people might have. Now, in my life and in my environment, I've been very lucky, although I think it's becoming the norm now, that people don't so much see my disability, they just see me. But I feel like the media hasn't caught up yet. And the media need to start casting people who are in wheelchairs and who have disabilities to play people on fictional shows rather than just having them in medical reality shows. I'd like to do a big disclaimer here. I love Glee. And I understand what Jared said on Tuesday about how if they're going to have a boy in a wheelchair on the show, they should have cast somebody who is actually in a wheelchair. And while I agree to a certain extent, I think that they should be given credit for some of the storylines they do that I can really relate to. For example, there's one where Artie, the boy in the wheelchair, he doesn't know whether he's going to be able to ride on the bus with his friends to the competition that they're going to take part in because they don't have a wheelchair accessible bus. And this was the case with me in the early years of high school. The school couldn't get wheelchair friendly buses, so my mum had to take me to and from and sometimes stay in all the school excursions. So I could really relate to that. There's a character in Pack to the Rafters that I know Madeline talked about. One of the main characters, Rachel Rafter, is brought to the boyfriend's house and meets the brother who has cerebral palsy, CP, and it's about how although she's being nice, she doesn't know if what she's saying is offensive she doesn't quite know how to handle it and how to speak to him. And he mentions in one of the scenes that he wants to be a travel reporter on TV. And trying to be polite, he says, well, I'm sure there are a lot of people with your condition who have done that. And the mum looks across quite cynically and says, name one. And I have to say, I did drama classes outside of school for quite a while, and I often wonder if I had decided to take it any further. I didn't really have anyone to look up to. Packed to the Rafters is the most realistic disability portrayal I've seen so far. In fact, I wasn't aware of the actor before I saw him on there, and I thought that he did have cerebral palsy. And I also think Lee should be given credit because there is somebody in that show who does actually have Down syndrome, and they've also used a paraplegic before. So I think while I understand where people are coming from in the casting of one of the main characters in a wheelchair being actually able-bodied and a professional dancer, I think they need to be given some credit. The next episode that I found really heartwarming was when Brittany, who is an innocent teenager that still believes in Santa Claus, went to Santa and asked him if Artie could get the gift of walking for Christmas. And as this is virtually impossible in Artie's condition, one of the teachers bought Artie some braces for Christmas, some robotic braces, so that he could stand up and take a few steps. And I just found the way they handled that whole situation really, really heartwarming. I want to say that I get really frustrated when on a TV show each character has a thing, each character has a characteristic that they're known for, and the person in the wheelchair, their characteristic will be being in the wheelchair. They won't have a personality being in the wheelchair. And I find that really disheartening because it's like the wheelchair is all of who they are. And I also agree with Aaron when he says that he gets frustrated when people have accidents and then within a few days or weeks they're able to walk and you would never know that they'd had that accident. While I can see if the story is fictional that this is really a feel good story, they might think they've represented people with disabilities, but they really haven't. And I know that it's fictional, but it also makes you think like, oh, why can't I do that then? So I hope you enjoyed our thoughts on the topic this week. If you would like to join the conversation, feel free to subscribe or leave a comment below. Otherwise, we just really appreciate you watching our videos and keep doing it next week. Thank you. Have a good weekend, everybody. Bye.